Shalom. Giving all praises to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachahakwarash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, the elders at Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations as always to the elect. And I wanted to get into Revelation, the 20th chapter, which is a chapter that goes into a lot of history as well as prophecy. And if you read it, from chapter 1, all the way to chapter 15, it can get confusing around the fourth verse, which we'll go into. The apostles and elders have went through this many times, but the Spirit's on me to go into it as well. And hopefully you brothers and sisters are edified. As you can see, it says Satan bound, which we know prophetically there is a nation of people that are tied to the spiritual demon Satan, because Satan dwells in the heavens, He's on the left hand of the Most High, and he works for the Most High, you see. But on the planet Earth, there is a seed and nation of people, who are closely associated with Satan himself. As a matter of fact, as we always go into in 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, as you see, it says here, the man of lawlessness, which when you go into it, is speaking of the man of sin, which is a nation of people on the planet Earth, and that's the biblical Edomites who ran, the fourth beast, which is the Roman Empire, in particular, the Western Roman Empire, Now, just getting to the point, speaking of this man of sin, the son of perdition, it says this, 2 Thessalonians 2:7, for the mystery of iniquity doth already work, only he who will now let will let until he is taken out of the way. And this is speaking of the Roman Empire, they were the ones, who were in rulership at this time, and through the Herodian dynasty, they had got control, over Judea, and ultimately started the process, and eventually, they took down the temple in 70 AD, but pretty much their plan was to get where they are now, where they exalted themselves as the true people of the Most High, Now, the Heavenly Father has allowed these Edomites to do exactly what they're doing, for the purpose of judgment. But we're living in a time where this is happening, and then shall that wicked be revealed, and the wicked are tied to the Edomites, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders. So even him whose coming is after the working of Satan. So let's look up this word coming real quick. So basically, he came to do the bidding of the spiritual demon Satan. So when we see this term Satan, we can't get all messed up in the head and think that this chapter is about a particular chain being placed on the spiritual demon Satan, to where he wasn't able to go out and do his work. No. Coming, parousia, it says presence, the coming, arrival, advent, When you go to the root word, parami, to be by, to be at hand, to have arrived, to be present, to be ready, in store, at command. So he's commanded, he's here to do the commands of Satan. And when you deal with the witches and warlocks, the banking families that rule on the left-hand side, you have to understand they deal directly okay, with the spiritual demon Satan. That's how they have their power. You see? So there's a nation of people tied, okay, to Satan. All right. That's why the scriptures refer to him as that old serpent called the devil and Satan. Okay. So let's go back here. And this is the book of Revelation 20:1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. Okay. So this is one who has the means to set one free. All right. As pertaining to a nation. Okay. And he has the ability to also put a nation down into captivity. Okay. And as a matter of fact, let's get that precept here in Psalms, the 75th chapter and the 5th verse. It says, lift not your horn on high, speak not with a stiff neck. And horn is likened unto power. Okay. And there will be a little horn. All right. That will come out of that fourth beast in Daniel, the 7th chapter. That little horn, okay, is the revival of Rome, which this chapter goes into that. Okay. As we're reading Revelation 20, it says, for promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south. Meaning these nations don't set themselves up, but God is the judge. Okay. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. He put it down one and set it up another. All right. He put it down one and set it up another. Okay. Which is the theme of what we're reading here in Revelation, the 20th chapter. Also, Daniel, the 4th chapter and the 17th verse says this. This is the matter by the decree of the watchers and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth over it the basis of men. Okay. So the Heavenly Father, okay, the Most High God, Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, okay, via the angels, all right, set particular nations up to rule and also takes particular nations down. It's all fulfilled in the word. It's all prophecy. Okay. So as we go back here, Revelation 20:1, and I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And this is not speaking of a region under the, the earth where evil spirits dwell. No, this is just speaking of the region in which Esau was ruling. Okay. Where was he ruling at? In Europe. Where was the ancient Roman Empire, okay, located? In Europe, okay? So what happened is the Heavenly Father took down the Western Roman Empire. He took down Esau, okay? And that chain represents captivity. As a matter of fact, let's look it up. Okay, he had a great chain in his hand, halusis, a chain bond by which the body or any part of it, hands or feet, is bound. Fetters. All right. Fetters are associated and synonymous with captivity, bonds. Okay. And this is something that happened on earth. This is not something that's happening underground. Now it says here that he had the key to the bottomless pit. Now this word key, okay, it's kleis. Since the keeper of the keys has the power to open and to shut. All right. So Yahweh Shai has the keys, all right, to death and hell, as we brothers been going into, the grave. He conquered death. He also has the keys, all right, to setting up nations on the planet Earth. Okay. He has power to give power to a particular nation. He has the power to take power from a particular nation. All right. As we read the book of Colossians, all of these things were created by him and for him. Okay. Even the heathen rulerships, it was all spoken by the Most High via the volume of the book. And within the volume of the book, there are particular nations who are going to rule at particular times. All right. And particular nations who are going to be in subject at particular times. Okay, that's just the way of the world. Okay. And the bottomless pit. Okay. Let's get this here in 2nd Esdras 5:24. And it says, and of all the lands of the whole world that has chosen thee one pit, and of all the flowers thereof one lily. Okay, so the pit is speaking of Jerusalem, but it's letting you know that a pit can be somewhere on the earth. Okay, it's not this place where demons, okay, and evil spirits are dwelling. Okay, where's that in the scriptures? It's not in there. That's a cunningly devised fable. Okay. So as you read verse 2, and he laid hold, he who had this chain laid hold on the dragon, you see, that old serpent, which is called the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. Okay. So there's no prophecy of Satan himself actually being bound for a period of 1,000 years. That's not what this is talking about. First off, let's find out who this dragon is. Let's get the book of Revelation, the 12th chapter, and we'll start at 1. It says, and there appeared a great wonder in heaven, and a woman clothed with the sun and moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. Okay, and that woman represents Israel. Israel is that woman. Jeremiah 6:2, I have likened the daughter of Zion to a comely and delicate woman. And when you follow the theme of the Bible, Israel is always likened unto a woman. Okay. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. And around this time, the Israelites were looking for a savior. Okay. The Jews were looking for a savior. Judah, Benjamin, and Levi were the ones, all right, who were particularly, you did have a few of the other tribes scattered in particular regions, but Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, you know, from the Babylonian captivity, okay, had stayed in Jerusalem. You see, the other tribes left the Assyrian captivity and came over to the Americas. So at this time, Jake was heavily taxed, okay, and under the jurisdiction of the Romans. They were vassals. They were subordinate and subject to the Roman Empire. This is why you had the zealots fighting, all right, to uproot themselves from under that Roman authority. So they were crying to be delivered. Okay, and then you have the red dragon Satan, and there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his heads. Okay, and we know the 7 heads represents his major empires, starting with the Greeks, the Romans, Germania Major, Germania Minor, the Spanish, the French, and the British. And America, Babylon the Great, came out of British, and that's broken down in Revelation, the 17th chapter. Okay, the 8th is of the 7th. Now, verse 4 says, in his tail, okay, this great red dragon, and we know Esau, Edom is synonymous with red. Okay, he was red all over when he was born. Okay, the scarlet colored beast, the beast system is scarlet. That's a derivative of red. Okay, the red horse in Revelation, the 6th chapter, that took peace away from the earth, had a great sword. That's Esau. Okay, and we know Rome, the dragon, gave him his seat, all right, which he seeks to continue into the earth unto this time. So his tail drew down the 3rd part of the stars of heaven. The stars of heaven are the 12 tribes of Israel. The 3rd part of the stars of heaven are Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, okay, who remained. Primarily, you had other tribes scattered, you know, in particular other regions and around, but the primary tribes were Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, and they were taken down. They were in captive, okay, to the Romans, which is what Daniel, the 7th chapter, prophesied. Let's get that real quick. Daniel, the 7th chapter, prophesied, okay, of the 4th beast. Okay. That's the red dragon. And the Edomites ran this beast. Okay. So as we keep reading, let's go back to Revelation 12. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered for to devour her child as soon as it was born. Okay. And all we have to do is go into the Bible. I believe it's in the book of Mark or Matthew 2 and 3. And when King Herod had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes and of the people together, he demanded of them when the Messiah should be born. Okay. And they said unto him, in Bethlehem of Judea, for thus is written by the prophet. Okay. So as you keep reading, okay, Herod pretty much was putting all of the male children of Israel to death because he was trying to cut off the blessing of the Messiah. Okay. Let's see here. Yep, Matthew 2 and 12. And being warned of God in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way. And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise and take the young child and his mother and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee the word, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. Okay, and Herod was pretty much a ruler that was in league with Rome, the Herodian dynasty. And Herod, his father was named Antipater the Idumean. So pretty much that's what this chapter is going into. Okay, it's going into the history, all right, of Herod through the power given unto him by the Roman Empire, which they were all Edomites, trying to kill the Messiah. All right, trying to murder the male child that was born unto Mary and Joseph, or Joseph and Mary. Okay. But as we can see, the angel told Joseph to take his child along with his wife. All right. That's proof that it's his child. What man would take the risk, all right, of a child that's not his? Okay. And pretty much risking fleeing out of his hometown into Egypt. No, that was Joseph's child, man. But that's a whole nother lesson for a whole nother time. Okay. So let's read it again. Revelation 12 and 4. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered for to devour her child as soon as it was born. And she brought forth a man child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up to God and to his throne, because eventually Yahushua grew up. All right. He offered himself up as a sacrifice. All right. He was put in the grave, and he rose. He conquered death, and he eventually went back to the Father. OK, now let's go back to Revelation 20. All right. So we see that the red dragon is synonymous with the Roman Empire, the Roman authority. OK, so going here, let's read it again. Revelation 20 and 2. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is called the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. OK, so this is speaking of what happened to the Edomites. OK, after the fall of the Western Roman Empire, it led to what people call the Dark Ages. OK, and all you have to do is look it up. OK, how long was the Byzantine Empire or the Dark Ages? OK, some people say 1,100 years. OK, the Byzantine Empire, also known as the Eastern Roman Empire, lasted for over 1,100 years. OK, Some people say 1,000 years. As a matter of fact, here's a video that I did on the subject, a while back, and you have 1,000 years. Okay. How long did the Byzantine Empire last? 1,000 years. So it's right on line with prophecy. And in this video, I kind of go into, particular icons, the Moors and, different Jakes who were ruling at the time. Okay. And I also have another video where I go into it. So I'll load these as well, a few of these as well, but, I go into more of the icons and stuff, because during this 1,000-year period, okay, there was a lot of so-called Negro art. The saints, the disciples, the Messiah himself were all painted as so-called black men. Okay. It was well known that the Israelites were so-called black. Okay. You don't get the white images until around the late 13, early 1400s. All right. Which is the beginning of the Renaissance period. So for a period of 1,000 years, Esau, Edom, was bound. Let's look up this word bound. Okay. Meaning he wasn't able to move forward. Okay. He wasn't able to move forward until he came out of this prison, which it wasn't a literal prison. Like, he was put, behind bars, but he as a nation of people were cast down. Okay. Just like right now, we're cast down as a nation of people. All right. The word for bound is deho. To bind, to tie, to fasten. Okay. Metaphorically, Satan is said to bind a woman bent together by means of a demon. To bind, to put under obligation. All right. To bind one. Okay. To prohibit. Esau was prohibited. Okay. Ruling at that time. Remember, the Western Roman Empire fell. Okay. So he was bound. Okay. He was bound. He was put into what the scriptures call, okay, the bottomless pit. Okay. And we know when he fell, eventually they were chased out of particular regions and ended up being bound into the Caucasus Mountains, a lot of them. Okay. They were cavemen. Okay. Let's keep reading. And he cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up. Now, if this bottomless pit is speaking of a pit where demons dwell, okay, that would have to be proven. All right. This is the area of Europe. This is where Esau fell. When Esau fell on the earth, where did he fall at? In the area of Europe. Okay. And from there, he was pretty much, a degenerate. All right. As the book of Job tells you, we'll get that. Okay. He was like something that people knew to stay the hell away from. So he cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal on him that he should not deceive the nations no more. Okay. So the energy of the Western Roman Empire, okay, the idols and everything else, okay, were pretty much not forwarded anymore. Okay. He was shut up. Esau was not ruling for a period of 1,000 years. Jake was ruling. All right. And he wouldn't be able to rule and deceive anymore until that 1,000-year period was fulfilled. And after that, he was loosed a little season. And this is not talking about a spiritual demon Satan. This is speaking of nations of people on earth. Now, while he was in that position, let's get Job, the 30th chapter. Job, the 30th chapter. Spoke of this in a prophecy. Job 30:1. But now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. Okay, here it is. I'm in a low estate, But these bastards who I wouldn't even leave with my dogs are now ruling over me. Yea, whereto might the strength of their hands profit me, whom in old age was perished. For want and famine they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness, okay, because they were chased out of particular regions, okay, and eventually a lot of them ended up, okay, in the area of Russia, okay, which when you deal with the bottomless pit, you know, Europe, okay, they lack a lot of resources, okay. As a matter of fact, okay, Europe lacks natural resources. Europe has limited deposits of oil and natural gas, which are drilled for energy and fuel. Russia has some of the largest oil deposits of the planet. Okay, this is why a lot of these EU countries rely on Russia, you know, for their oil deposits. Okay, but it's a lack of minerals and resources in the area of Europe as well. All right, which is why they suck a lot of the resources from these other different nations. Okay, so that's another reason you can call it a bottomless pit. All right, but ultimately, it's a region in the earth where Esau was taken down. Okay, so it says this here, Job 30:3, for want and famine they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness. In former time, desolate and waste. They were desolate and waste, who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper roots for their meat. Okay, cavemen. They were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as a thief. Okay, it was not cool to be an Edomite in that time. Okay, you were looked at as a villain, a problem. To dwell in the cliffs of the valleys, in the caves of the earth, and in the rocks. Okay, among the bushes they brayed. Ooga ooga, under the nettles they were gathered together. They were children of fools, yea, children of base men. They were valid in the earth. Okay, and now I am their song, yea, I am their byword. Now they're ruling over us. They abhor me, they flee far from me, and spared not to spit in my face. Because he have loosed my cord and afflicted me, they have also let loose the bridle before me. So this is a prophecy of Esau, Edom, when they were in that caveman state. And they did spit in our faces. Okay, we are their byword. All right, but we have to remember, this is the most vile and low people on the planet Earth. All right. The only reason they have what they have is due to biblical prophecy. So Revelation 20:3, and cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed a little season. Okay. Now, with this chapter, verse 4-6, okay, brings up a different 1,000-year period dealing with the kingdom of heaven. Okay, it jumps from, all right, some history, all right, to a prophecy of the kingdom of heaven. Revelation 20:4, and I saw thrones as they sat upon them, and judgment was given to them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushua and for the word of the Most High, which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with Hamashiach 1,000 years. This is what the Bible calls the first dominion. Okay, Micah, the 4th chapter and the 8th verse talks about the first dominion, where Yahushua and the first fruit spirits will reign on earth. Okay, setting up the throne of David, all right, and going throughout the four corners of the earth, taking down these heathen. Okay, setting up that authority. But the rest of the dead live not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. All right, the rest of the dead is speaking of the heathen nations, because During this 1,000-year period, the heathen will be in a hardcore captivity. Okay? Because you got to realize these heathen have been ruling all of these years. So for the kingdom of heaven to come into place, the throne of David, okay, there's going to be rules and regulations. Okay, and we know the elites of these heathen are going to flee into the bunkers. But once New Jerusalem comes down from heaven, the purpose is to set up order. Okay, and this is not talking about, after 1,000 years, then, pretty much the kingdom is going to fall and then the heathen are going to rule again. No. As a matter of fact, when you get the book of Daniel, the second chapter, Daniel, the second chapter tells you this. Daniel 2:44, in the days of these kings, okay, shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. It shall stand forever. It's an everlasting kingdom. This kingdom will never fall. Okay? It's an everlasting kingdom. I know Daniel, the 7th chapter, says something. Let's see here. Let's see here. Daniel 7:14. And there was given him who? The Son of Man, Yahushai, glory, dominion, and a kingdom that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. All right. Psalms 145:13. Thy kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and thy dominion endureth throughout all generations. So this can't be talking about after 1,000 years, Satan is going to rule. No, this is just basically the first resurrection, the first dominion. Okay, where Yahushua and the first fruit spirits, all right, though, including some of those who were even beheaded, for preaching this message right now. Okay, who refused the mark. Okay, those are going to be the first fruit spirits to rule with Yahushua on the earth as kings and priests. Okay. Revelation 20:6, blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. On such the second death hath no power, but they shall be priests of the Most High and of Hamashiach Yahushai, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. Okay, and again, this does not mean they're not going to reign any further after that, but that first 1,000-year period is going to be crucial to set paradise back up in the earth. Okay, because a lot needs to be fixed. Okay, the mindsets of these heathen need to be changed, and that's what the rod of iron is for. Okay, and that's what King Herod was scared of. He wanted to stop that. He wanted to stop Yahushua from, being growing up and being a sacrifice to bring the nation of Israel, starting with the elect, back to the Most High, so that we can rule in perfection. So this 1,000-year period has nothing to do with the 1,000-year period in Revelation 21:3. Verse 4-6 is speaking of a whole different time frame. This is speaking of the future reign in the kingdom. Okay. Now, when you jump to verse 7, okay, it goes back to what was being spoken of in verse 3. All right. So you would basically read 1, 2, 3, and then you would jump to 7 to finish the understanding on him being loose for a little season and Satan being bound. Okay. Revelation 20:7, and when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison. Okay, so was Satan in an underworld where a bunch of unclean spirits were? No. Basically, okay, the Renaissance. Okay, as a matter of fact, let's get the book of Malachi, the first chapter. In the third verse, it says, "And I hated Esau and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness." And that's going to be the end result of you devils. Your heritage, Babylon the Great, is going to be laid waste. Your power structure is going to be laid waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom said, we are impoverished, and they were impoverished. Okay. It happened many times where they were down and, kind of rose up. But the greatest time being after that 1,000-year period, after the Western Roman Empire fell. Okay. We are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Okay. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord have indignation forever. There you go. Okay, so they said we will return. Okay, when 1,000 years are expired. Okay, the word return, shawab, to return, to come or go back, to turn back, to restore. And what was restored here in Revelation, the 20th chapter and the 7th verse? "And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison." That is the Renaissance period. Okay, this is the deadly wound being healed. Okay, in Revelation, the 13th chapter. Okay. Revelation 13:2, "And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard." The Greeks was the beginning of this power structure, and his feet were like unto a bear. Speaking of Russia, okay, this system is gonna be ended through an assault by Gog Magog in various different countries. We'll show you that as well. "In his mouth as the mouth of a lion." Okay, Great Britain, which that was a big part of rebirth of Rome. "And the dragon gave him his power." The ancient Roman Empire gave this beast system its power. Started with the Greeks, but Rome gave them their power and his seat and great authority. "And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death." Let's look at this word wounded. Okay. Saphadzo. Okay. To slay, to slaughter, butcher, mortally wounded. Okay. So the Edomites were taken down for a period of 1,000 years. Okay. But guess what? And his deadly wound was healed. Let's look up this word healed. Therapio. Therapy. Okay. To serve, to do service, to heal, to cure, to restore to health. Okay. So let's look up the Renaissance period. The Renaissance was a fervent period in European cultural, artistic, political, and economic rebirth following the Middle Ages. Okay, generally described as taking place from the 14th to the 17th century. The Renaissance promoted the rediscovered classical philosophy, literature, and art. And what is the classical philosophy? The Roman Empire. That's where the classics go back to. Okay. And that family, the Borgias, eventually came into play as well. Okay. Where you get Caesar Borgia. See if we can just type in Rome and see if this article will just say anything about Rome. Okay. Boom. It's all dealing with the ancient Rome. Okay. The classical nature of the Renaissance was linked to its origin of the Roman Empire's heartland. Boom. Okay. And eventually, it was the Black Death that led to the Renaissance. Why was it called the Black Death? Why was it called the Black Death? As you can see here, the Eastern Roman Empire fell due to what is called the Black Death, and that led to the Renaissance period. Okay? Which, boom. Okay? Classical antiquity. See what classical antiquity is. Classical antiquity, okay, interlocking civilizations in ancient Greece and Rome, known as the Greco-Roman world. That was what was rebirth into the earth. So when 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison. That's the deadly wound being healed. Okay, and that's proof that the prison, the bottomless pit, was Europe, because where was the Renaissance? In Europe. Where were they cast down? Europe. And pushed into different, regions and areas. But it's pretty obvious when you go into the scriptures that this is not talking about a bottomless pit where particular demons dwell. That wouldn't make any sense. Okay, again, Satan, when you look up this word Satan, okay, Satanas, an adversary, one who opposes another in purpose or act, the name given to, the prince of evil spirits, adversary of God and Christ, as it says, but we know the Most High controls Satan. But here, boom, a Satan-like man. All right. And there's a nation of people who are the top adversary to the Israelites. And that's the Edomites. So after the 1,000 years were expired, okay, the rebirth of Rome came. Okay. The Renaissance period. Okay. Which it means rebirth. We always go into that. Okay. The revival Renaissance, the revival of art and literature under the influence of classical models of the 14th and 16th centuries. All right. A revival or renewed interest in something. Okay. And that's where they started to paint, over the dark images. Okay. And create all of this art. Okay, that would become popular into the modern world we know. Okay. But before that, you had what is known as the Dark Ages. Okay. The Dark Ages. Dark Ages usually refers to the 900 years, which is 1,000 years of European history between the 5th and 14th centuries. Have you heard that this was a period of stalled advancements in science or culture? So basically, what Esau will teach you in his school systems is that for 1,000 years, nothing advanced. See, but the Spirit, jumped on our teachers, the apostles and elders and the teachers before them, to go into the true history of what was happening. And we have the books and the history to prove, all right, that things were flourishing around this time. Okay, it was just hidden. Okay. Boom, it says here, the Dark Ages, let's see here, is a term for the early Middle Ages, or occasionally the entire Middle Ages in Western Europe after the fall of the Western Roman Empire. All right. The concept of a dark age originated in the 1330s. Okay. Why would they call it the Dark Ages? Okay, for one, they like to tell you it was all darkness, and for 1,000 years, nothing was happening that was worth recording. And then this mysterious Black Death, which was a plague, killed off 2/3 of the people who were ruling. Why is it called Black Death? Okay, and then, ironically, all of the images, all right, from prior to the 1400s Renaissance are somehow painted over or missing. We had particular brothers who went to Europe and they went to this, little castle, and, they were looking up, a little, Renaissance art. But, one of the brothers asked, well, what about the art, from prior to the, 1400s? And the tourist told him, well, that's locked up in a room. We don't usually show, everybody that. Okay, and as you can see, this is one of the, icons. You can see looks, kind of like a so-called black man. All right, but, just to get a little history, we don't have to go too deep into it. You can do the history on your own, but this is the blacks of Central Europe. We bring you over 1,000 years of so-called black history in the German-speaking lands, and show you why it matters right now. Okay, so it's history out there. The black saints. It's a lot of history. And there's a website. I have to find that website that goes into a whole bunch of the actual history, man. Okay. What were black experiences in Europe like before the arrival of the transatlantic slave trade? How did medieval Europeans view the continent of Africa? Where did the black Saint Maurice and the black Magus come from? And why have they persisted? And why they persisted into the present? All right. So this website goes into, particular, art, 8 stunning images of people in medieval Europe. Okay. But it's all hidden. Why? Because, again, the scripture said the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, and they covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where is and who is he? So they not only, painted over the dark images and destroyed a lot of the art, but they set up a whole wicked system into the earth. Okay, Othello. Okay, a Moorish general. Now, when you look up Othello, okay, if you just type in Othello, you're gonna think he's a so-called white man. Hell, what's this guy's name? Casanova. If you look up Casanova, you're gonna see a picture of a white man, but all of his friends describe him as having a dark African tint. Okay, so these devils have lied about a whole hell of a lot. Okay, but the Sybil, all right. I mean, and it's a whole bunch of history to look up, but just know we ruled, all right, in Europe, in these regions, man. And it's well known, okay? The black kings and queens that ruled Europe for almost 700 years. The Moors. I mean, you can look it all up, but yeah, the so-called blacks ruled. Okay, and it's not just the Moors, which were Negroes who got into Islam. All right, who were the blacks that ruled the Dark Ages? History confirms that the Moors ruled Europe, primarily Spain and Portugal, for almost 700 years. All right, but it went deeper than that. Okay, and Esau hid this history from you Israelites, but now that we're telling him he's going into captivity, okay, some of them are bringing it up. Well, you had us in slavery as the Moors. Well, wait a minute. You never taught that in school. That's never been though. Where'd you get that at? But again, there's various sites that go into the history, but for the purpose of the lesson, we're just going to move on. Okay, so let's read this again. Revelation 20:7. And when the 1,000 years were expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison. Let's look up this word loosed.
Strong's G 3089. Luo.
To loose any person or thing tied or fastened. Okay? That's it. To loose one bound, to unbind. So Esau, okay, beginning with the Renaissance period, was loosed out of his prison. That's how he has been able to build up to where he is now. And that's why Rome is being established into the earth, all right, at the rate it's being established. If you look all around you, you see Rome. Okay, that's what the Renaissance was all about. Okay, but it didn't stop. Okay, eventually the Spanish, the French, and the British all, okay, were predicated upon Rome, and America predicated upon Rome. It's the rebirth of Rome. So when 1,000 years will expire, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison. And if you're saying this is not, Europe, then show us a scripture where Satan, all right, because Jacob say they agree that it's talking about the dark ages, but the bottomless pit is a place where demons dwell, just so they can oppose themselves. So you mean Esau was taken down for 1,000 years and went into a lower region where bugged out demons were? No. And what did he do after he was loosed out of his prison? He shall go out to deceive the nations which were in the four quarters of the earth. The earth was given into the hand of the wicked. Let's get that real quick. Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? And he literally covered the faces of the true judges of the earth, the Israelites. Okay, he did it, all right, by painting over those images, which you call iconoclasm. Okay, and he did it, all right, with this wicked system he set up. So he went out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth. So is this the spiritual demon Satan literally going throughout the earth? No, this is Esau, Edom. And it's going to lead to Gog and Magog gathering various different nations to battle. The number is whom as the sand of the sea. So their evil and wicked doings that they would do in this little season, okay, as the scriptures say, the triumphing of the wicked is short. This is his little season. Job 20:5. That the triumphing of the wicked is short, and that the joy of the hypocrite before a moment. Okay, so they've been able to triumph up to this moment. Okay, but this is that little season spoken of in the third verse. He will be loosed a little season. From the Renaissance unto now is that little season. Okay, and boy, look what he's done. Okay, he went throughout the four corners of the earth, starting wars, lying, destroying, nations, uprooting governments, to the point where it's now led to Gog and Magog gathering all of these various different nations to prepare for war. Okay, and they're going to strike Babylon and Israel and utterly destroy them. Israel will be rebuilt. Okay, but Babylon is going to be destroyed forever and ever and ever in a monument of rebellion. Verse 9, and they went up on the breadth of the earth and compassed the camp of the saints about in the beloved city, which is Israel, the elect. Okay, there's going to be a point where they come after the elect. Okay, the beloved city is Jerusalem. Jerusalem is a people before it's a place. This is how we're able to keep the Passover while not being in Jerusalem, because wherever the elect are, that connection from on high dwells with them. That's the beloved city. Okay, and there's going to be a point in prophecy, okay, where these devils come after us. Okay, and what does the scripture say? When an enemy comes in like a flood, this is the book of Isaiah 59:19, so shall they fear the name of Yahweh from the west. Okay, the northwestern hemisphere where this word is coming out. Okay, in his glory from the rising of the sun, when the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of Yahweh shall lift up a standard against him. Okay, so we know also according to Revelation, the 12th chapter, I believe, let's see here. Let's see. Let's just get it. Revelation 12. They're going to come after the elect. The dragon, right? Revelation 12:17. And the dragon was wroth with the woman. This dragon is who the Bible calls Satan, the nation of people. The Edomites, the ones who ran the Western Roman Empire, run the revival of Rome. And they're going to be angry with the woman and go to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. Okay, so he's going to, get to a point to where we are now, where war is going to issue forth. All right. Before that, we know they're going to try to get that charagma and all of these various different things going. But they're going to come up and try to come and get the elect. All right. Let's read this again. And they went up on the breadth of the earth and compassed the camp of the saints about in the beloved city. All right. The Israelites. Okay. A people before it's a place. And fire came down from God out of heaven and devoured them. All right. So we're going to be in a position of difficulty, and the Lord is going to work a miracle. Okay. Fire is going to come down and devour them. And the devil that deceived them, okay, was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone. Okay. Where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented night and day forever and ever. All right. And we know that's not literally forever and ever and ever. Okay. But for age. And we know that the lake of fire is going to be America, the destruction of Babylon the Great. Okay. As well as the destruction of various different parts of the earth. Okay. The beast is Esau. Okay. This beast system is ran by Esau. Okay. As a matter of fact, when you look up that word beast, it's therion, metaphorically a brutal, bestial man, savage, ferocious. Okay. So this power structure is going to be totally destroyed. Okay. And the false prophet is the Roman Catholic Church, the Vatican. All right. That's going to be destroyed. Right. So the Lord is going to come back. Okay. There's going to be war going on. We know that these nations are going to shoot missiles on America, Israel. It's going to be war throughout the earth. And then the chariots are going to return and deliver the elect while that war is going on. All right. Right before those missiles hit America, the Lord is going to take the elect up out of this place. Revelation 11 says this. Revelation 11. And 11. And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from the Most High entered into them. Okay. And that's around the, the 60s. The 3 days and a half, 350 years from around 1619 to around the 60s, where the Lord gave us the Holy Spirit. Okay. And they stood up on their feet and great fear fell on them, which saw them, which is going to lead to the dragon attacking. We're out preaching and great fear is on them, but eventually they're going to attack. They're going to come. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, the chariot, and their enemies beheld them. And in the same hour there was a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell Babylon, and the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, a complete number of people, and the remnant were affrighted and gave glory, all right, to the Most High God of heaven. The second war is past, and behold, the third will come quickly, and that's World War III. Okay, so boom, that great earthquake is going to come from destruction. Okay, so going back to Revelation 20, okay, and 10, and the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, the destruction that's coming, where the beast and the false prophet are, and they shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. Now, when you look up this word forever, it's just age. Okay, because really we know that the elites of Esau are going to flee into the bunkers, and eventually we're going to get them out of those bunkers. Okay, we always go into that. If you need understanding on that, let me know, and I'll go into that. But Revelation 6 and Revelation 9, talks about how the rich men are going to flee into the bunkers along with their slaves and, others. Okay, and they're going to be, preserved from that destruction for the purpose of captivity. But this word, forever, is aeon. All right, aeon. Okay, forever, unbroken age, perpetuity of time. But boom, an age for a time. Okay, let's look up the root word. I perpetually, incessantly, invariably, at any and every time, when according to the circumstances of something is or ought be done again. Okay, I never seen this word, but let me see what it means. So it's just an age. All right, nobody's going to be tormented and burned forever, not even the Edomites. Okay, how are they going to be in captivity? All right, if they're burning forever, it doesn't make any sense. Without interruption, constantly, and they are going to be put in a hellish condition on earth. Okay, but we know they're not going to be tormented day and night forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Even the Edomites have an end to their, captivity. All right. And then it says judgment and the throne of God. And I saw a great white throne and him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and heaven fled away, and there was found no place for them. Now, as a matter of fact, let's just get Revelation 6. Okay, because that white horse is talking about Yahweh Shai coming on that chariot. Okay, Revelation 6 and 2. And I saw and behold a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer. And this is what Yahweh Shai is going to come do. Okay, he's going to come to conquer and take down these various different nations. Okay, now when he does that, Revelation 6 and 14, and heaven departed as a scroll. That's the destruction when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us, hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the day of his great wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? Okay, also Revelation 14 or Revelation 19 talks about that white throne, but it describes it as a white horse. Revelation 19 and 11, and I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse symbolic of power, and he that sat on him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness doth he judge and make war. I believe it's also in Revelation 14. Let's get that real quick. See if we can find that. I believe. Yep. Revelation 14:14. And behold, I looked, and behold, a white cloud, the chariot. Okay. And upon the cloud one sat like unto the Son of Man, having his head on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. All right. That's talking about Yahweh Shai, man. Okay. So reading back here again, because when this destruction happens, the elect are going to be beamed up. Okay. They're going to come after the elect. Fire is going to come. We're going to be beamed up, Lord willing. We have that number. And that's where judgment comes. So Revelation 20:11, and I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, okay, whose face the earth and heaven fled away. Okay. And there was found no place for them. All right. Their rulership was taken away. And I saw the dead, okay, small and great, stand before God, and the books were opened. And another book was opened, which is the book of life. Okay, so this is judgment being set. Okay, and we know the elect are written in the book of life. All right, those who aren't written in the book of life are going to suffer destruction. Okay, pretty much the book of life entails the deliverance of the elect whose names are written in the book of life. All right, as a matter of fact, let's just type in book of life. See if there's any other scriptures on it. Okay, let's see here. Revelation 17:8. And the beast thou sawest was, and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition. All right. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world. And they shall behold the beast that was, and is not, and yet is. And that's speaking of Rome, and it was forwarded by America. Okay, but the peoples whose names were not written in the book of life, right here, Revelation 13:8, and they that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of the life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. Okay, so Revelation 21:27, and there in no wise shall enter into it anything that defileth, neither whatsoever worketh abomination or maketh a lie, but they which are written in the Lamb's book of life. The book of life is ultimately where the elect's names are written, those who are going to be with Yahweh Shai is coming. Okay, so let's read this again. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before the Most High God, and the books were opened, and another book was opened, which is the book of life. The books is judgment. All right, but the book of life is where the elect, okay, are written in. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books according to their works. Okay, and the scriptures say we must all stand. Forget how it's written. I know it's in Corinthians. Let's see. We must all. 2 Corinthians 5:10, for we must all appear before the judgment seat of Hamashiach, that everyone may receive the things done in his body according to that he have done, whether it be good or bad. There you go. Also, Revelation 11. Okay, Revelation 11:18, and the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, in the time of the dead, that they should be judged, these heathen. Okay, the 2/3, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants, the prophets, and to the saints, and to them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. Take down Esau. Esau is the end of the world. Habakkuk also saw, we'll get that real quick and then finish it up. Habakkuk himself saw something similar. He saw the same vision, but, you know, they all described it in their own way. God's deliverance of his people. And we know that's going to come with great destruction, man. Okay. This is Habakkuk 3:2. O Lord, I have heard thy speech and was afraid. O Lord, revive thy work in the midst of the years. In the midst of the years, make known. In wrath, remember mercy. So in a wrath that's to come, we want him to remember mercy. And that's through Yahushua, the elect are going to get mercy. All right. God came from Teman and a holy one from Mount Paran, just like when, the angel came to deliver the law. Okay. That's how he's going to return through that same, that same area. He's going to return to eventually deliver the elect. Selah, his glory covered the heavens and the earth was full of his praise. Okay. That's these angels. Okay. Yahushua and the angels, man. And his brightness was of the light, and he had horns coming out of his hand. That's the fire. Okay. That's going to be coming from those chariots. Okay. And the deliverance of the people synonymously. And there was the hiding of his power. All right, the secret chambers, the chariots. Before him went the pestilence, and burning coals went forth at his feet. He stood and measured the earth, and he beheld and drove asunder the nations, and the everlasting mountains were scattered, and the perpetual hills did bow. His ways are everlasting. So this is speaking of the Lord coming to deliver his people, man. Okay, verse 12, thou didst march through the land in indignation. Thou didst thresh the heathen in anger. Thou wentest forth for the salvation of thy people, even the salvation of thine anointed. Thou woundest the head of the house of the wicked by discovering the foundation to the unto the neck. Selah. Okay, well, there you go. Okay, so finishing off Revelation 20:13, and the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them. And they were judged, every man according to their works. Okay. So at this time, there's going to be people literally being raised from the dead, either for deliverance or for destruction. Okay. And when Yahushua was crucified, people came out of their graves. Well, people are going to be coming out of their graves, out of the sea and everything, for the purpose of either being, delivered up or for the purpose of being destroyed. Okay. There's going to be a lot going on at this time, man. Okay. And death and hell, all right, which is this condition on earth. Okay. Were cast into the lake of fire. How in the hell are you going to cast hell if it's a burning place into the lake of fire? Okay. This is the second death. The first death was fire. The first death was water. The second death is fire. Okay. The first death was the flood. The second death is going to be the destruction. All right. The fire from war and the fire that's going to come from the chariots. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life, okay, was cast into the lake of fire. So whosoever was not found written in the book of life, okay, whoever, they're going to be destroyed in the lake of fire here in America. Okay. But we do know that there are going to be particular people who are not written in the book of life, who are going to flee into those bunkers for the purpose of captivity. Okay. And if there's any Israelites, still around the world, the scriptures talks about how the rebels are going to be purged out. All right. But when Yahushua returns, he's returning to deliver those who are written in the book of life. Okay. And we know the 2/3, okay, die here in Babylon. The 2/3 are here in America. Okay. And the elect are going to be delivered from not only Babylon, but from the four corners of the earth, wherever we be scattered, man. So that was Revelation 20. Hopefully I will edify on to the next. Shalom.